into Cassie's kitchen where the magic begins. Baking from scratch, let the journey spin. Recipes and videos, holiday delight. DIY magic shining so bright. Preserve the flavors, keep them near. Sustainability, love's always clear. Apothecary blends with a gentle touch, making life sweeter, adding so much. In Cassie's Kitchen Creations, dreams come true. More than just food, it's a gift to you. From baking tips to DIY care, in this kitchen you'll find love to share. Making your dreams reality, watch them grow. They feed the soul more than you know.
Hello, bakers and bakerettes. Welcome to my kitchen, my favorite space or place to be. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For another epic bake. So today I'm going to bake something that I haven't baked in a while. It is a mile-high cream cheese pound cake. Strictly cream cheese. I'm not going to add any sour cream. I'm not going to add any milk. It's just going to be a mile-high cream cheese pound cake. So come along with me and let's get started. The first thing we're going to need is going to be 2 pounds of butter, which is 4 sticks. And as you know, I use unsalted butter. So we're going to need 4 sticks, and you do need to allow it to come to room temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and add these to my mixing bowl. And we're going to get ready for the first most important step in mixing a cake. Is the blending. Making sure that you cream the butter and the sugar. And of course, that's the first step in any epic bake. Right. So we have our butter added. Again, you do have to allow it to come to room temperature. So now I'm going to add the sugar. This is a mild high pound cake. So the ingredients is going to be just a little bit more than normal. So for the sugar for this one, I'm going to need to add 4 cups of white granulated sugar. That's 2 cups. Three cups. And if you don't want to add that many, you really don't have to. But remember, the ratio of sugar to flour should be somewhat equivalent. If you want your cake to be like, I say mine are like semi-sweet. If you want it to be, we'll just say, I have a sweet taste to it. So then that's 4 cups. Right, so now we're going to turn on the blender. And of course, I put it on stir because I'm just going to allow everything to become like well incorporated together. Just kind of like introducing the sugar to the butter. Now I'm going to increase the speed on my blender to 4. And at this point, I just want to cream the sugar and butter. I want it to be fluffy. I want it to be light. I want it to be the consistency, as I always say, of ice cream. And then also we get like a pale look to it. Okay? So let me reach to get my spatula because I know I'm going to need this when I release it from the sides of the pan. Make sure everything gets a good mix. So I'm going to stop the blender. I'm just going to remove everything from my blending, or the beater as most people would call them. And then I'm going to scrape down the sides of the pan, and I'm going to scrape down the bottom, and just flip it from the bottom to the top, just making sure that all of the white granulated sugar and all of the butter gets mixed well together. I don't want anything to stick on the bottom of the pan. I don't want anything to stick to the sides. I'm just going to scrape down the sides and kind of roll it over from the bottom to the top. All right. So we're going to turn the blender back on. And we're going to continue to allow the butter and the sugar to cream. I'm going to place you on a brief pause. I know you don't want to sit and watch and wait. So I'll place you on a brief pause, and once the butter and the sugar is creamed, I will bring you back into the bake, and we'll be ready to add our next ingredient for this cream cheese pound cake, mile high cream cheese pound cake. And it's going to be the key ingredient, which is the cream cheese. So hang tight. Okay, everyone, it is time to add the next ingredient, which is going to be the main ingredient as far as the name of the cake, but not the main ingredient for the overall bake of the cake. Because you know you gotta have some flour in here, all right, and you also have to have some eggs. Because as you see, there's no baking powder or baking soda, so the eggs are going to be the leavening agents for this cake, all right? So now we're going to add the cream cheese, and you only need 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese, whichever brand you so desire. I usually use Philadelphia, but my local Kroger's was out, so I had to use the Kroger brand. But it's still good. I've used it before. Same result. Nobody's gonna know that it's not Philadelphia. And you can use any brand of cream cheese. Any brand. Even if you want to make your own. And be a true DIY. Alright, so I'm gonna add this. And you need to let it come to room temperature as well. Everything needs to be at room temperature. And make sure you scrape the foil when you get all of your cream cheese. Okay? So you need 1 8-ounce block. So now I'm going to put it on stir just so that I can get the cream cheese incorporated into my sugar and butter. It's kind of like introducing them. I'm going to increase the speed. So now I'm going to increase the speed to like 4. Cheese can be kind of thick. That's why you want to let it come to room temperature so that it becomes easily incorporated into your butter and sugar that has been creamed. I'm just going to release everything, scrape down the sides of the bowl, and then I'm going to roll it from the bottom or flip it from the bottom to the top. I just want to make sure that everything gets mixed very well. Yeah, I have baked just a regular cream cheese pound cake many times. I baked a mile high one before. Um, I actually would like to try out this new pan, the new square pan. This one is by the Old Country Kitchenware, and I ordered this. I've used the square one before, but this one is aluminum, and I'm going to try it and see how well it bakes. I'll give you a review on it. This is a 9x9 by 4.5 inch pan. It holds up to 18 cups. If you bake a cake that's 10 cups, 8 cups, 10 cups, or 12 cups, of course you know it's not going to fill it. This is an 18 cup pan, right? And it's a two-part. You have the flute that comes in or out. So I took a piece of parchment paper, and I usually don't do this, but my significant other, his sister, visited, and she asked me about this pan, and I think she used it before. She knows someone, and she said they always put parchment paper because it will leak between it. This pan is originally made for angel food cakes, and of course, you know, they don't really run, but I can see why some of the batter would probably seep through. So I just put a piece of parchment paper. You can cut the paper if you would like to fit the bottom. And I just didn't tear off too big of a piece just so it could just fit down in there perfect. And then this is the cream cheese cake. It's not going to be running either, so it probably would not run through. But I think she was jinxing me when she told me that, so I decided to go ahead and line the pan today. Alright. So yeah, I'm going to try this square pan, and I'm going to see how it works. It's supposed to be like an even heating aluminum, like for your highest rise when you're baking your cakes. Again, it is a two-piece assembly. And this is a family-owned company. Let's see where they're located. Austin, Texas. It's called Old Country Kitchen. So made in the USA, right? So the oven temperature is set at 300, so it is a preheated oven. It is going to be a 2.5 hour bake, and that depends on your oven and your oven temperature. So it's going to be cooking at a lower temperature. It's going to take a longer time, and it is a mile high, not your regular 8 to 10 cup cake, so it'll take a little longer to bake. So slow and steady wins the race and creates the epic bake. Alright, so I'm just going to set this here. I think the cream cheese is well incorporated. Right. So again, I will scrape the sides of the mixing bowl, and I'll fold it from the bottom to the top just to make sure. Seems to be fairly well mixed. All right. So now I'm going to add the vanilla extract. Now, whatever flavor you would like, you can substitute. If you want to use lemon, cake batter, butter flavored, coconut, whatever flavor you would like to use as far as extract, you may use it. I'm going to use Old Faithful, my favorite, which is Watkins Bacon Vanilla. And you need to add 1 tablespoon. 1 tablespoon, because this is a mile high cake. So 1 teaspoon is not going to give you that flavor. Okay. Alright. So now I'm going to just allow the vanilla extract to become incorporated into my batter. knead that down to just a gentle stir. Right? The next thing I'm going to do is add 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. Now to this flour, you don't add baking powder, you don't add baking soda. If you would like to add salt, please do not use salted butter, use unsalted. And if you would like to add salt, you will add 1 teaspoon. Or if you use salted butter, then don't add the salt to the flour. Alright? So the next thing I'm going to do is add this 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. And you're just going to add this and just allow it to mix and blend in, just at a low speed. You're just going to mix it, right? Again, you're introducing the flour to the cream, butter, sugar, Philadelphia cream cheese, and vanilla extract. Everything is getting to know each other. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is that you're going to add your eggs, and you're going to add the eggs one at a time, okay? And it takes 10 large eggs for this bake. So you're going to add them one at a time, and you can just put it on stir, or if you want to speed it up, you can put it on 2, and you can, like, if you need an actual time, you can count 30 seconds, and then you add your next egg. What you want to do is make sure that you break the yolk and that you no longer see the yellow streaks in your cake. Or in the batter, I should say, or the dough. And that's when you know that you can add the next egg. So 5 in and 5 to go. Now, since there's no baking powder and baking soda in this cake, you know that the eggs, along with the cream cheese, are going to be the leavening agents for this cake. This is what's going to allow the cake to rise to the occasion. And that occasion is the epic bake of today. We have 3 more to go. There's no need to beat your dough while you're adding the eggs. You just stir them in, because you don't want your to have any streaks, or you don't want your cake to be gummy or clay looking, or have that wet, moist streak in it. And that's the gluten. Right? So we have all of the eggs, 10 large eggs, introduced into our mix. Now I am going to increase the speed just for about 1 minute. I just want to make sure that these eggs are well incorporated, because that's 10 large eggs. That's a lot of eggs. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the remaining 4 cups, because it takes 4 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour. Alright, so now I've added the 1/2 cup. Now I'm going to add in 2 parts. I'm going to add 2 cups, mix it, then I'm going to add the other 2 cups. And you just want to put it on stir. You just want to get it just incorporated in. You don't want to mix it at all. You just want to stir it in. I'm going to ramp up the speed just gently from 2 to 2, from stir to 2. All right. So now I'm going to add the remaining flour, the remaining 2 cups. Of course, you know you're always going to have just a little left in the bottom of the bowl, so I'll just turn the bowl up and make sure it gets in. Alright. So once again, I'm just going to stir it. Just spread it out evenly. Alright. So now what I'm going to do, because this is a mild high cake, I'm going to make sure that I scrape down the sides of the bowl really good before I actually start mixing it on high speed, because I don't want any flour to stick to the sides and I don't want any flour to stick to the bottom. Alright, so I'm just going to just stir it around with my spatula, making sure that everything gets mixed, because I would hate to pour it out in the baking pan and then I got flour sitting in the side or sitting on the bottom. That would be an epic failure, not an epic bake. Let's just remove this right quick. Yeah, I don't see any flour settling out. I don't see any sugar or butter that's not mixed. Everything from the bottom is folded over to the top, and it all seems to be mixed very well. Anytime you bake a mild high cake, any cake really, but especially a mild high cake, because it's more flour that's been incorporated in it than just your regular 3 cups, make sure that you mix it with your hand as well, just scraping your bowl and making sure that nothing is settling on the bottom. I do this with every cake, but you definitely have to do it with the mild high, because sometimes even the eggs will settle out on the bottom of your mixing bowl. Okay, so everything seems to be blended together. So now I'm going to put the blender on a high speed. I'm going to put it on 4, and I'm not going to blend it long. Just going to make sure everything gets well incorporated together. So So now while that's blending, I'm going to go ahead and get my baking pan ready. Now from my previous video, I compared some old-fashioned pan coat. This is shortening, vegetable oil, and all-purpose flour. So now I'm going to go ahead and use some of this so you can see that I do use the things that I make. I don't just make it. So you just want to lightly coat your pan. You want to make sure that you get your flute as well. And also you want to get the bottom of the flute. And it goes on very well. So anyone who has an issue with their cakes being released from their baking pans, I highly recommend that you try this DIY old-fashioned baking pan coating mixture. As you can see, it coats the pan very, very well. I'm right-handed, so that, well, I'm actually even-handed, but let me move where you can actually see it. Alright? And get the base of the flute as well. And then you just sit it back in. And then you get the size of the pan just like you would a regular baking pan. All the way to the bottom. Don't leave out anything. This old-fashioned pan coat, it just brings back memories. When my grandmother and my great-grandmother used to bake, we used to be in the kitchen. We made a mess out of this stuff. But you know how it is when you're young, you want to be helpful. But I will say I learned a lot from them. I really did. I got a lot of my baking skills, cooking skills from my grandparents on both sides, and also my great-grandmother on my dad's side, who I was blessed to be able to get to know, and actually was in high school when she passed away. So that was a long time. Alright, so now we're going to stop the blender. We have some really good cooks in my family. I mean, even my brother, he's a pretty good cook. Not just a griller. So, all right. You know, a lot of kids like the holiday song. It says, "Over the hills and through the woods to grandma's house." Well, mine wasn't that close. It was across some hills and through several woods, across several creeks. It wasn't like a hop and skip and a jump. But when we were there for summers, and I will say we learned a lot. A lot of skills, like homesteading skills, because they were homesteaders. They raised us that way. Even my dad had a garden and raised his own cattle, his own pork, his own chickens. We raised our own eggs. So, you learn a lot. You learn a lot of survival skills. And of course, cooking is one of those. Right? So now we're ready to transfer our cake to the baking pan. And with this pan, I'll do the same thing. I'll pour it, and I'll just, this is like, they say rectangular, square. I'll just pour it until it doesn't pour itself, and then I'll help it out. I'll just scrape the sides of the bowl and scrape the bottom, and as you can see, it just flows out. And as you can see, there's nothing clinging to the bottom, no sugar, no egg, no flour. Everything is the same consistency as it comes out of the mixing bowl. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to like just evenly spread it around the pan, because this pan's a little different. We don't want a lumpy cake. We want it to be consistent. All right. Now with this old time pan coat, you don't really need to put any sugar, because as you notice, I didn't sprinkle any sugar in the pan, because you really don't need it. With the flour and the shortening and the vegetable oil was just to loosen it. It's to loosen the short, and it's going to cook very well, and it should come out very easily. All right. So now you want to just shake the pan. And of course I do the tap. To release any air bubbles. And you'll know if you have air bubbles because they'll pop on the top. You'll see it. Very, very noticeable. And of course you know you're going to have air bubbles in this one, because if you know anything about cream cheese, you know. Okay. Alright, so I don't see any bubbles being released anymore. I had a couple on the sides and a few in the middle. So now I'm ready to place the cake in the oven. So this is an aluminum pan, and it is designed for even heating. So I'm going to make sure that I place it in the middle of the oven on the rack. Of course, it sits flush, so you don't have to adjust it so that the cake doesn't bake lump-sided or one-sided. So again, the temperature is 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And I recommend on any bake that you do that you put a liner, a sheet of aluminum foil, or a baking pan, like a cookie sheet underneath, so that you can catch anything that overflows. My baking pan is a filled. This is an 18 cup pan, so I don't predict that it will overflow. But I do have a liner in my oven, and I keep a liner in my oven. So of course I'm going to place the cake in the center of the oven, close the door, and I'm going to allow it to bake at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 2.5 hours. Low bake, slow bake, okay? Low temperature and a slow bake on time, and that's going to create a longer process for the leavening to take place, so that the cake actually rises, because there's no baking powder, there's no baking soda. And I went over this in the first couple of cakes that I baked, and also did a video on leavening and agents and their overall purpose. So I'm pretty sure that if you watch that video, you understand what I'm saying. It's just like doing a cold oven bake, where you put the cake in and then turn the oven on. And that doesn't hurt the cake at all. What it does is that it elongates the leavening process so that the cake actually rises. So this is going to be at 300 for 2.5 hours, and it is a cup and a half more flour than usual. So of course it's not going to take an hour, hour and 15 minutes. Now I'm going to use a kebab stick because it is a mile high cake, which is where I got that from with my other cakes instead of using a toothpick. I just buy these kebab sticks, and the ones I don't use for kebabs, I turn around and use them to test my cakes. And these are perfect for the mile high cake. So you want to check it in different spots, making sure that it doesn't come out with anything clinging to it that's moist. If there's something that clings to the toothpick or the kebab stick or whatever you use, it wants to be like flaky, like where it can just come off, because if it sticks and it leaves it moist, then the cake's not ready. And also if it comes out dry, then you know if it doesn't have any little crunchy flakes or fluffy flakes on it, then you know your cake is somewhat overbaked. Because we don't want a dry cake, we want a moist cake. Okay? So I'm going to use a kebab stick, so I'll just lay this here for when that cake comes out. Of course, I have created some dishes that I need to take care of, and within a 2.5 hour wait time, I'm sure I can have these few dishes washed and probably something else prepared for dinner. So I am going to place you guys on a brief pause. I'm going to allow the cake to bake, and when it's time to remove it from the oven so we can see this epic bake, we're going to bring you back in to the video. So stay with me, and I will be back in 2.5 hours, which will seem like 2 seconds to you. So hold on. Okay, everyone, it is time. Time to remove the cake from the oven. Turn off the oven. Let's do our poke test. So this is what I mean. You want something that flakes when it comes off. You don't want it to cling to the stick and be wet and moist. All right, so the cake is done. It is ready. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay. This is the cake. It's a mild high cream cheesecake. Okay. So I'm going to allow it to cool for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to turn it out onto the cake plate, and then it'll be ready to serve. Now I'm not going to put a glaze on this one. I never put a glaze on a cream cheesecake, but if you would like to, you can do a cream cheese glaze. That would be nice. Now this cake plate is this baking pan is a little different than most because it has this flute that pulls out. So you let the cake cool, and you're supposed to take like a can, kind of like just any regular like vegetable can, tomato sauce, green beans, corn, any can. And you are to turn this flute out into this can to release it from the pan. Right? I don't have a can that's empty, and I'm not just going to open a can of beans just to have a can. So I've devised another way that I'm going to take it out. I'm going to let it cool. I'm going to pull the flute out because the cake's going to be released from the sides. And I'm just going to simply turn it over on my, take the glove, hot hand, and put it under the bottom of the fluted part and just turn it out over on my cake plate. I'm going to see how that goes. I do have a jar, but it's a little tall. It's somewhat taller than the actual flute that's in there, and I don't want to run the risk of damaging the cake. So I've come up with another plan. I've devised another technique to remove it. So I'm going to let it cool, and when it's time, I will bring you back and let you see what the final product is when I turn it out on the cake plate. So hang tight. Hello everyone. I have released the cake from the cake pan. It's beautiful. So here is to another epic bake. Mile High cream cheese pound cake. And this is the old-fashioned cream cheese pound cake recipe, not the new revised. This is the classic, which is simply the cream cheese. And I want to get close so you can see the baking pan coat, the old-fashioned baking pan coat that I use. As you can see the size of the cake, it released very well. I did put some parchment paper in the bottom of it so that it could come out and you can kind of see where the paper was folded, but that's all well. I just want you to see how well the old-fashioned baking pan coating mix that I did worked. All right, release beautiful. So for those who have trouble having your cakes come out clean out of your baking pans, I strongly suggest that you try the recipe that I posted on the old-fashioned pan coat, because this stuff is thebomb.com. Okay, it works better than anything. I think this comes out much better than when you use the baking pan spray. And I didn't even add any sugar to this. I usually have to add sugar if I use the baking pan spray, like the Pam, the All Bake by Chef Quality, or even with the Baker's Joy. But with the old-fashioned pan coating, I didn't have to do that. I just simply coated my pan lightly, placed some parchment in so it didn't leak through the bottom of the pan, and then this is what the result is: an epic bake all the way around. So that concludes this bake for today. Thanks again for joining me. As always, if you are a subscriber, I greatly appreciate you. If you are a new subscriber, thanks for subscribing. Please watch the videos and the shorts. Leave a comment, click the thumbs up, which is the like button, on your way in or on your way out. That simply pushes the videos out into YouTube algorithm so that others can see all of the epic bakes that you see. Right? So if you just strolled by the channel and something caught your eye, thank you for stopping by. I hope you will consider subscribing as well. Please like, comment, and share. And as always, I encourage you to encourage yourself, inspire yourself, enlighten yourself, motivate yourself, so that you can also do the same to those around you. Always be cordial, respectable, and treat others the way you would like to be treated. In today's society, people are dealing with so much stress, so much anxiety, so much frustration, depression. They have so many mental illnesses that they're dealing with, some a combination. And we just never know what people are carrying with them, what burdens, what trials, what tribulations that they're dealing with from day to day. And our positivity, our positive vibes may be the only positive vibes that they encounter within a day, within a week, within a month. Who knows? So always be kind to others in hopes that they will be kind to you, as well as pass the positive vibes, only be kind to someone else. We will give the gift that keeps on giving, and that's the gift of positive vibes, right? So thanks again for joining me. I will see you on the next bake, the next no bake, possibly, the next prep, the next cook. Who knows? If you think you know, leave a comment. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one.
Holiday dinners that warm the heart. With every dish you play your part. For bakers of all skill come along the way. Cassie's showing you day by day. Laundry and hair care, all DIY. With nature's help, you reach the sky. Food preservation from garden to plate. Living your dream, it's never too late. In Cassie's Kitchen Creations, dreams come true. More than just food, it's a gift to you. how I care. In this kitchen you'll find love to share. Making your dreams reality, watch them grow. They feed the soul more than you know. It's not just the meals, it's the joy inside. With every dish we take pride. You're building a life with each recipe. Cassie's here helping you be free. So come on in, it's time to create. In Cassie's kitchen, there's no need to wait. Your dreams can feed the world, don't you see? Cassie's creation sets your soul free.